Welcome in, everyone. This is our flow recap video for the week of 12/16 to 12/20 of 2024. As always, we're going to go through the flow that was posted publicly and some was posted in Discord. We have some flow and charts to go over, and we're just going to kind of do a quick touch on all the flow and kind of just what stuck out with majority of these. So let's get started here. So first off, as always, I like to be transparent. Some of this stuff is public, some of this isn't public, so I don't make edits to my stuff, but I do post everything in real time. I do not edit my posts or anything, so this is the flow for the week, and we're going to go over our flow and charts as well, too. So, first up, these actually came in last Friday. These three were our flow and charts, so I'm just going to kind of show everybody kind of what I do here. So we have our flow and charts here. So these are from the hottest contracts. These are the trades that I'm taking. So we had SOUN, Reddit, CLSK, and AVGO for the week. So just going to show everybody that there. And now we can finally get started. So up first, we had the Reddit 117 2025 puts. And these came in on the 13th. The flow and charts were posted that Sunday. So these opened at 8:29 on Monday, hitting a high of that 1450 on the 18th and 19th here. So that's giving us a 74% return if you would have swung through that there on Reddit at the time. And I do like to I'm going to pull this back here just so people can see. So Reddit, obviously I have kind of what I'm seeing here. Obviously the flow part, technical analysis, kind of what I'm looking at for a trade idea there. So like this at the time, you can see that spot kind of staying down there, but then we had that big floor trade large cap coming here, huge spike in that IV. Your spot price increased on a wider bid-ask spread there, so that's what stuck out on that one for me. We had a chart here, so keep in mind we wouldn't have got in when this whale got in. We got in the next day or Monday there, which obviously you get that discounted entry, so that's kind of what I like doing the hottest contracts. That's why that's how I take my plays. So these running from that next day about that 661, 770-ish. I have 829 as the open there, so this would actually be it right here. And then we hit that high. So that was Reddit, and we actually had SOUN as well. Here's the flow on that, so 3 all the way up to a high of 799 on the 19th here, so that's 144% on that. And for this one, again, this was actually up here first. So again, here's your flow guidance, your technical analysis, and kind of how I'm looking at taking that flow. So here you go, here's that. You have repeated hits, descending fill, but again, wider fill, or a fill at the ask side here on the wider bid ask. And you can see that IV increasing here. So good sign there. So that's what stuck out on that one to me. And then we have CLSK up next. So again, you can kind of see, we'll get a deeper understanding. This is just kind of more for Discord right now. You can kind of see what trades we had. This is more of a recap for us here. So SOUN, again, another one. We just did SOUN. Why am I doing that again? CLSK. So this was a public idea. So kind of sitting flat here, 95. They hit a high of 107 here on the 18th. So 95 to that 107. I had 93 as our entry here when that came in. About 15% on those. Whales still in. Nothing else really to see there. So now we're getting into the ask side and bid side and ETF flow here. So we have these 321 Palantir bid side calls. Now keep in mind when you're selling calls, you're looking for those contracts to decay or go to zero pretty much. You want them to decay, go to zero. So these are 321 110 calls. As long as a Palantir doesn't get up to that 110, this whale will collect premium. So right now, looking at this flow here, that bid side when this came in, kind of see that IV staying a little lower there. See that bid side fill, that's a sign of a sell. Can see these were filled at 350 here. They did hit a low of 261 here, 250, 261-ish here on the 18th. So that whale did collect about 25% of that premium, and it does look like they may have passed these contracts off here on the 16th, because you can only see, that 350, and they looks like they bought back here at 275. So they sold to open these, and then they bought back here at 275, and you can see that reflected kind of here in the open interest. Not as much as I was thinking. So 748, 6. Okay, so majority of that did carry over actually. So they may have bought back. That's an interesting one to watch there. When you get that bid side, and then you usually see that green, that would be them buying it back. But that math isn't mathing there for me. So interested to see how this one keeps playing out. IBIT, the 321.65 calls. Here is your entry. Let me pop the results out here. So you can see as that flow is coming in, 67.59, that IV jumps. On the repeated hits there, you can see their sweeps coming in. And you see that IV continuing to kind of come up here. Then you see more repeated hits come in. IV jumps again being filled at that spot price there. That's what looked good there to me. You also look at that net call premium. Lots of net call premium over the last 7 sessions. Here's your whale entry hitting 626 for an entry. 620 I had for the actual posted entry. Hitting a high of 730 here. I have, 730 same day here, because these moved intraday more. So here's your 16th where they came in. And you can see that high coming up here. So that's gold line. That's just your spot price of whatever stock or ETF you're following. So these did hit that 730 same day, about 17.74% there. Looks like that whale's kind of cutting here. We do have some multi-leg, so can't 100% for sure say, but seeing some bid side stuff here, about 569, 590. Whale could be cutting here. Got to keep an eye on that open interest on Monday morning. Next up we had AVGO. This was after earnings. Pretty easy one here. 1629 these filled at. Come down here, I pump out the results. And you can see, here's where that volume came in. So spike in that IV, another spike in that IV. There's your size and premium kind of mixed in here, and you can kind of see that IV creeping up a little bit here. So interesting on that one. These hit a high of, and this was a same day move actually, these hit a high of 1535 on the day. Actually, where do I got here? Let's see, high. Okay, here we are on 1216. I was saying they got a little higher than that. 1881 for a high on 1216. Looks like that whale's kind of, so let's see, we had 1,400 contracts here. And then you only had another 1,200 or so here. This whale may have passed these contracts off to somebody else at that 1330 level for potentially a loss. Kind of hard to read that one because you didn't have that full open interest carryover. So to me, that's saying that somebody passed on the contracts to somebody else. And also looking at the net premium here, come back 7 days. And again, on these, always harder to tell. Something 182 days out, sometimes hard to tell. I mean, it's a very long move they're looking for. But there's your day where it came in, big spike in that net call premium. All right, let's move on to Google. These had a nice little gap up. Here's our entry here, 122 on the 321-260 calls. Here is your flow, 3570. So it does say it's a repeated hits descending fill, but we have that jump in that IV. So that's what sticks out there to me. And you can see, let's see where that descending fill is. It's only on one contract there. Otherwise, everything else is at the ask. So that is fine to me. If this was like 300 contracts with at that fill kind of below that ask, then I'd be a little more kind of cautious on it. But one contract, obviously, that's not a huge size of their position. Then we look at the net call premium. And again, 91 days on this. Keep this in mind. This whale's a lot longer term, probably looking at earnings, all that. Here's your spike on the 16th here in that net call premium. You can see we gapped up that next day. And these hit a high of 157. You can see that the volume carrying over into open interest, 157. So these contracts, 128 to 157, that's a 22% gain. That's not a bad trade. And just because a whale holds, this is something I always tell my group. Have your stops on. You can always re-enter, but you shouldn't let a trade that's, even 10%. You shouldn't let a trade that's 10% go red. Have a stop on it, break even. Adjust your stops up every 5-10% or so. 20%, that's a great return. And if you keep compounding those 20% trades, you'll be happy. Instead of letting 20% come all the way down here, this whale's at 68 now. And they paid 122. They're down about 50%. That's not a good trade. That's why following whales is good. But sometimes they're humans. They are like us. They're longer term. They're probably spot these and they're gonna shut their broker, not look at it. But doesn't mean we shouldn't be taking profits. So those moving about 128 to 157, 22% on those. Next up we had Riot puts. So another interesting one here. These filled at 35, and let's take a peek. 9707, can see kind of a small spike there, but again, seeing majority of that bid side there. Kind of a little more mixed here. A lot was kind of coming in on this one. But 35, these ended up hitting a low on the 16th of about 21, and we hit 18 the next day. 18 and 20, so that would have been two decent spots to get a trade there. So that 18 from that 35, that whale collected at the max about 48% of that premium. And now look where they are. But again, keep in mind, when they're selling contracts, they want them to go the opposite way. So they want these contracts to go up essentially. Or they want Riot to go up or stay neutral, just as long as Riot doesn't get under that 12.5 and they exercise. So like right now, it's under that 12.5. They could exercise these contracts and this whale is liable then. But they have 7 days and we have theta over the weekends and we have a short week next week. So something to keep eyes on there. All right, so we got HUT next. This was a very good mover. Here's our entry at 35. Can see that volume turning into open interest. Hitting a high of 280 today. Whale's still in. That is a 700% return on HUT there. Looking at the flow quick, 110.28. See that IV up. Ask side fills. Look good there. We look at the net premiums. Let's go back 7 days. Didn't see a lot, but this is where we saw that it was kind of flat that day. A lot of bid side calls there. So, and then kind of a spike here yesterday on that, but pretty flat there. Let's see, we'll do the Marvel 1227 124 puts. Again, here's your flow. 43.19, can see that IV making its way up here. That one doesn't scare me there, but on your bigger sizes here, can see there's a jump in that IV there. Ask side fills. Here's your whale, 302, hitting a high of 1861 on the 18th. 1816, sorry, that's 500% there. That net premium, again, pretty flat. That didn't really tell us anything. SPY puts, again, 542. Here's your high. They hit their high about 12 today. We had gap down a little bit today, but hitting that high at 1260 on the 18th, 1258. 132% on those. All right. Next we had on the 17th XOM. Let me bump this back down a little bit. So here, let me go back to the 17th. Okay, so here's your 17th. Here's your 195 whale entry. XOM gapped up a little bit here on the 18th. We hit a high of 248, 253 on the 18th. Those contracts running 27.18%. Starting to see a lot of volume in here, so it gets kind of hard to track like that. But at the time, so on the 17th, you can see a majority of that carrying over. Seen a lot of volume the last couple days, so a lot of contracts changing hands. This is where it gets hard to kind of fully track a whale, because I mean, could be some whale taking off here at 180-ish. Hard to know for sure. Could have been this whale here at 248 too. A lot of volume there. Something to keep eyes on. Once that volume starts picking up, it gets a little tougher to track. But those moving from that 195 to 248, 27.18% max return there. Uber, these gapped up the next day. Let me come back 7 days here. So here are entries, and let's go back and look at the 17th here. So on the 17th, this is where we came in here at 158 towards the end of the day. You look at the flow, 4009, that IV staying the same. Seeing ask side fills. And at the time, let me bump this back to today. At the time, the last 7 days, huge massive spikes of net call premiums there. Good sign there. A lot of bullish premium on Uber. Oklo, this was a flow and charts setup as well. So let me pull this back up. So Oklo, we had two large ask side whales here. So we had that flag there. We had a lot of bullish gamma here. We had ask side hits here. That whale was down, so we knew this was a discounted entry. And this was a very nice discounted entry because here's our whale. They filled at 2 on the 18th, and that's FOMC when we sold off heavy that day. These contracts opened about 125. I had members get filled about 1, so I went with 1 on this one. These hit a high of 195 today. That's a 95% return, just being patient and waiting for a setup and doing some charting. So very nice move on that one. This whale is sitting pretty much at break even right now. A little bit below, but 28 days left on there. Look at that net call premium, all bullish there. See SPY calls. This one's a little longer dated here. So a lot of ask side hits here on that 321.635 call. Whale filled these for about an average of 547 on the day. These are probably little averages, averaging in, averaging down. But you can clearly see this is a opening trade just based on that volume and open interest on the day. And majority of that carrying over too. But whales down about, they're running about 267 here. So that whale's down about 50%, but 91 days on these, a lot can happen in 91 days. And we had these SPY puts. Obviously, these made a big move. 521, we sold off on FOMC. Looks like that whale's taking some profits today. This would be my assumption. Well, or it could be rolling. We have a multi-leg here, 94%. But these hitting a high of 1985 today. So these running from that 521 here, and you can see that on that average fill to that 1985. That's a 281% return there on the SPY. Next up, we had RSP. These came in right before FOMC. This could have been an FOMC hedge. Can't 100% know. Let me come back here. So they filled these at 40, sitting at about 5. They obviously expired today, so worthless. This whale could have been selling these, could have been a hedge. That's why I don't like trading before FOMC. So this was a loss there. QQQ puts, obviously these made a good move. Looks like this flow coming in at 377. Whale taking some profits here at 903. Contracts hitting a high of 1527 today. That's 299%. Looks like a majority of that volume, about half that volume, still probably in here. So you can see some of that coming off here into the 20th. And we only had, on the 18th here, we had 3,000 contracts there, 1,400. Only had about 17 carryover, so they were scalped those and took profits about same day. Coin, another good one. FOMC, obviously we had the overall market tide showing a lot of bearishness at the time. So this is kind of when any bear flow came in, it was kind of just throw a dart and get it. Here's your whale here. They got these at 280. Hit a high of 1235 today, actually. Looks like they're taking some profits at that 648, 450. Could have took some profits in here at 527, 588. But these hitting a high of 1235, so that max return there is 344%. Mobley, these gapped up. 90, hitting 110 today. Only about 20%-ish, 22%-ish on those. Whales still in. Again, longer term there. You look at that. Net premium, huge net call premium yesterday. And these other ones, these came in today, so it's a little harder to track them. Amazon sitting kind of break even, 181 here, and can look at the flow here actually. So again, 33.83. You can see that IV staying up. Ask side fills on a little wider bid ask. Net call premium today, pretty bullish. A lot of call volume. Sitting about break even, down 5%-ish. 181, looks like they closed about 171, down about 5%. Again, 63 days on here. They're not probably looking for an intraday move. Palantir, these made an intraday move. 222, they hit a high of 385. Looks like they closed at 380. Whale still in there. Probably wouldn't chase something with that big of a move up because these are up about 74% same day. Mara, these ones, this would be an interesting one to kind of just check that open interest on Monday because they filled these at 75. More came in at 80, and then we kind of fell off. So interested to see kind of what happens with this one, but they're saying about 57%. Whales down 28% on those. And last but not least, we have Pfizer here. 48. It looks like this whale could be taking some profits at that 50, 51, 50-ish range from that 48. But these did hit a high of 53 today. So, I mean, that's a 10% gain. This whale could just be trying to ride the momentum in the market up today. 10% gain on those. But other than that, that's all I got. And I do want to tell everybody, so this is the full range of the trades. So you're not expected to exit at the top or anything. This is just the full range of the trades. If you're interested in trying unusual whales, there is a discount code in the description below. And if you're interested in joining Stock Hub, all these plays were posted in live time in Stock Hub, except the flow in the charts, obviously, because those are at night. If you're interested in joining Stock Hub, there is a link in the description as well. Have a great weekend. Have a great holiday week. Short and trading week next week. So have a great week, everyone.